Hi, my name's Paul Rye. I'm the writer, director, and producer of Places Please. I'm from Sydney, Australia, and I'm a filmmaker. Yeah, so the film actually was shot in film school last year in 2023. It was our festival film project, so it was our final project of the year. And we hadn't made any scripted or narrative things leading up to it. We just done short documentaries, music videos, and whatnot. So the film itself, the idea, or its origin, or where it came from, is I before I went to film school, I did a little bit of acting. So amateur theatre work or short films or commercials. Um, and the character of Keith, who is the stage manager, I sort of felt like I was a little bit of him when I was acting in all these plays. I noticed a lot of the chaos backstage, a lot of wild, chaotic characters. The diva, the old school actor who's a bit of a drunk, the stage hands that were very new and timid and unsure what to do. So all those sort of characters, and then there was always the one person, which is the character of Tracy Martin, who is the level-headed one who really doesn't take it so seriously. So all those characters were sort of from the background of what I've done in the past as an actor, and I sort of fused them into a film that, yeah, we shot in film school. The film itself, I wrote as a whole tracking film, so it was all going to be tracking in one shot. Impossible to do, especially at the stats we were at with school, where we were with equipment, number of cast, number of crew. So we obviously hid a lot of those, a lot of the tracking, the transitions. You'll see a lot of those transitions in the edit. So yeah, that's the film in a whole, in a short form. Yeah. Yeah, I've got some stories. So it was a 2-day shoot. We were given, I think we were given 3 days for school, but we ended up doing it in two. Everything ran extremely smooth. So the chaos you see on screen, it didn't equal or mirror any chaos while we're filming. Um, Everything was smooth sailing as far as the location, cast and crew got along. Everything was perfect. Um, as far as stories, I don't think I have anything that will be entertaining or sort of some behind the scenes because everything works so perfectly. Actually, no. Yes. So it was scheduled for 3 days. We shot it in two. And then what happened was we'd wrapped on day two and everything was happy days. And we went to the pub for some drinks and some lunch. And then later that night, about 8 p.m., we realized that the opening shot through the foyer, where you see people mingling and drinking wine before the show, we did that, 10 takes or whatever it may be. Um, and on the right side of the frame, you can see one of the lights. So we did that whole day. And then later that night, when we wrapped, realized we got to go back. So then I quickly got in touch with the location. So we actually did 2.5 days. We basically did the third day was like an hour in the morning. So you could call it 3 days. That was probably one story. And then the other story would be the long shot, the tracking shot where Keith is coming from Hudson's green room and he comes on all the way on stage and then he sits down and then Tracy comes over and they have that meaningful moment in the middle of the film, the grounded moment. And then basically the camera does a 180 and then we see the back of Keith and then the the theater. And then it goes back again for a 180. The cinematographer goes back again and then it whips to Lisa. We did that 24 times. So each take was about 3 minutes tracking with the two 180s and the whips. And we did it about 23, 24 times. And my poor cinematographer was doing it barefoot with a gimbal and dripping sweat. And the poor actors had to do it over and over again. And what happened was, it's an editing story. This is where it goes, is you can hear me yell on the fourth take at the monitor, just behind stage somewhere, like, we've got it, that's the one. I was very happy with the fourth. The first AD was very happy with the fourth. My cinematographer, he said, no, I think we need more. We have a lot of the time for that shot, so that was fine. I said, okay, because as a director and cinematography, you work so closely, it's like a pendulum. You try to help each other out and trust each other, and said, okay, let's go again. So he ended up doing 23 or 24. And by the 23rd or fourth, he was happy. And then when we got into the edit room, we used the fourth take. And we all looked at each other and like, oh man, we did that for 2 hours longer than we had to. But yeah, they're probably the behind the scenes stories, because everything was smooth sailing. They're probably the only two, not even mishaps, happy accidents, or like, that's filmmaking, I suppose. Yeah. Yeah, so I rehearsed with the actors. So I did one rehearsal with the actors, just table read and script read after casting, and then what we did was we did like a recce rehearsal, a previs. So we didn't set or dress the location or the set. We didn't do any of that. No production design. No one was in costume or wardrobe. We just got all the actors in place. We did a rough run through, filmed it, and then our cinematographer, actually, not our editor, he cut that together just to see what it will look like once we go into production. And it was honestly amazing. And people aren't in costumes and wardrobes and don't know the lines. They're holding, scripts, and I'm in the background yelling things throughout. But his edit was still that good that we all knew we were onto something great, where we all sat down, the crew, and watched it and went, oh God, this is pretty good. Wait till they know their marks, and wait till we've got the right lenses and the lighting and costume and wardrobe, and everything comes together. So yeah, we did one previs, one run through tracking wise, and then one script read with the actors. Oh yeah, I mean, you can see the blurred out role models behind me, but yeah, no, I'm a huge, any filmmaker has got to be a cinephile and a movie crazed buff, and I have, and I always will be. Um, it sort of varies. See, the film that I made, Places Please, is it's a write what you know movie. I wrote what I know. But when you look at my favorite movies and my heroes, um, it's totally opposite to Places Please. My favorite movies being, The Godfather, Goodfellas, Casino, The Town, Heat, these crime sort of gang thriller movies. But it varies. You can see the blurred out ones behind me, and people watching who are fellow cinephiles will know that's Jaws. You can tell, and that's Lost Boys and Back to the Future and Pulp Fiction above that. So hero wise, directors are definitely Scorsese and Francis Ford Coppola. Um, and then Australian people like Joel Edgerton, Bruce Beresford, those sort of, being Australian, I sort of look up to a lot of those people as well. But I would say Scorsese's on the top of my list, which is pretty common. I mean, nothing new there, and you're going to hear that thousands of times. Yeah, so now that was my first film, and I'm going on to my second in March. So I've written and directed sorry, and I'm going to direct and produce it. It's going to hopefully be February, March. It's sort of a prequel sequel to Places. It lives in the same universe. Um, it actually, it happens the night before Places. Different cast, different story, different protagonists, all that sort of stuff, but it lives in the same realm, so the same universe, and we will see a handful of the Places Please cast appear in smaller roles that will connect everything. But as far as tips and advice, pre-production, being super prepared and taking the time. If you think you've got 2 hours to spend longer on a shot list, or 2 hours to spend talking with the production designer and a cinematographer in the same room, do that. Another thing would be, in that pre-production, is location recce's, going to the location if you can, and it's not going to really cost. Seeing that location with the right heads of department, which brings me to pre-production. I sort of do a prelim pre-production, and then I go into pre-production. So people do it mentally, where they start placing people in certain positions in their mind. I do that on paper or on drives and whatnot, where I'll start placing people that will fit in the right crew roles pretty early. Pretty early. The one I'll look at their work and I'll go, well, this is similar to what I want to shoot, or I like the way that's lit, this sort of stuff, and then I'll start jigsawing or Lego, putting people into their spots. So yeah, advice would 100% be pre-production. If you've got the time, do it. Don't sit on your hands and hope it's going to come together in the day or on production, because it just won't. The way Places Please worked is I was extremely critical on pre-production. I made sure the meetings were ran. I made sure people were there. I made sure everyone was on the same page, and that I truly believe that's why the oil of the machine was so good and it ran so perfectly, is because pre-production. Similar. So, which movies or series are similar to me as a personality? God, I mean, you can tell by the color on the wall behind me. If you could see the wall in front of me too, and the books, I vary in taste and color. So my personality changes day by day. I mean, one minute I'm watching Scarface, and the next minute I'm watching Happy Gilmore. I really, it's really hard to put me down as a certain personality, or what movies are so similar to me. Um, for our graduation, I had to do the graduation speech on behalf of the class, and the host who was at the graduation, who was our writing teacher, who introduced me to the stage, said that this guy is the type of filmmaker who can watch Citizen Kane and then watch Happy Gilmore. And it was very accurate, because I can watch Citizen Kane and then go, okay, cool, and then turn on Hotel Transylvania and still have a great and enjoy both equally. So I'm sorry if I answered that incorrectly, but I can't
Sorry.
put myself to a personality, unfortunately.
Okay.
Firstly, I just want to say a big thank you to Freewheeling Film Awards for awarding Places Please with Best Editing. I'm glad that everyone enjoyed it. Over the moon that the film is having a life of its own and having a great run. I hope to spread the film further. If you could follow Places Please journey at Knoll Street Productions on Instagram and Facebook, there'll be plenty more updates and plenty of life left in Places Please.